Christian Testimony Share. Share your testimony.
Hello, my name is Jennifer, and I would just like to share a quick testimony with you about being patient and actually just waiting on the Lord's timing. I took driving lessons at the age of 17 when I first got my provisional, and then soon after I turned 18 and I went to uni. So during the time that I was at uni, I basically didn't take any lessons until I got to like the end of third year. But before that, I had taken my theory test twice and obviously failed. And then the first time I went, I didn't even have the right documentation, so I wasn't even able to take the test. The second time I went, no, actually I did it 3 times. So the second time I went, I failed. And then the third time I went, I failed. And I was like, what? I thought this was supposed to be the easy part. So I left it for a little bit. And then when I got to the end of third year, I started taking lessons again. And in second year, I'd moved to like Essex, so it was kind of easy for me to commute and do my lessons in Essex. But when I moved back home, which is in South London, I wasn't able to take my lessons in Essex. So I was looking for a new driving school and stuff. And then I found another driving school, obviously in South London, and I took 2 tests with that instructor. But before I'd taken my test with that instructor, by God's grace, I was able to pass my theory test. So the 4th time was the charm. And then after I'd taken my theory test and I'd been successful in that, I took 2 more tests. So the first test that I did with this new instructor, who was in South London, I failed. Well, I failed before I even got to be in the car, because we'd done a whole hour lesson, the show me, tell me questions, everything was perfectly fine. We get to the test center, and all this while I'm interceding, I'm praying in my heart, like, Lord, this is the day, like, I'm ready, like, I really, really want to pass today. I even like marked the day in my calendar and everything. We get to the test center, and the examiner's like, oh yeah, let's just do the good car checks. Then all of a sudden there's a slash in the tyre. And I'm like, are you telling me that this guy has done lessons before I came? We've done like a whole hour lesson before, I'm about to take my test. And then there's a slash in the tyre. There's no way, because we did the show me, tell me questions as well. So I went to the boot, I went to the front and everything. So I'm just like, where did this slash come from? Because I haven't hit anything. And he said, oh, it must have been from one of his other students. And I'm like, how did we not notice this the whole lesson? So long story short, obviously I didn't get to take my test that time, and with the same instructor, I didn't even know that you're supposed to drive to the speed limit of the road. So yeah, we all know how that went. I definitely didn't pass that time. And then with another instructor, I took 1 more test. So that's 3 times that I've been to the exam. Well, what's the place called now? I've been to take my practical driving test, and I wasn't successful. So on the 4th time, I won't lie, I was feeling very discouraged, because every single time I'd prayed and I just felt like, yeah, like I was really sure that it was going to be this day. And seriously, if the Lord hasn't spoken it, then I guess you have to actually wait until he has spoken it. It might be coming in 1 day, 2 days, or 3 days, but you can't determine what the Lord is going to do. So this last time I changed instructor, I did an intensive course, and I was really happy with the results, because I was kind of feeling a bit rusty, because I hadn't, like, in between the tests, I'd taken like a hiatus of a couple of months because I started a new job and stuff. And so I did an intensive course for a week, but it was spread over 2 weeks. It was like I did 2 days on 1 week, and then I did 3 days the next one, and then obviously on the 3rd day was my test. So so the first day I didn't like the instructor, but I said, Lord, if this is the right instructor for me, even if I find them annoying, let me just be able to get through this and pass. So I was like, I really don't like this instructor. I'm not feeling it. But in the end, the result was good, of course. So I started taking the intensive course, and at first I was a little bit rusty. I felt like, wow. And this was in manual, so I felt like, wow, like I'm not doing a good job here at all. And then the second day, I was finding my bearings, doing my maneuvers and all that kind of stuff. And then on the third day, which was the following week, again, I felt a little bit rusty for the first 10 minutes, but then afterwards, I was bright as rain and everything was good. And so, long story short, it came to the test day. Now, all that time, from the time that I took like the first lesson with that instructor to the test day, I was praying and I was like, Lord, let this be the time, because there was a lot of things that were going on, and obviously I needed like a car or to be able to drive, at least to be able to, have those kind of provisions and stuff. So really, the Lord had set me up financially to be able to take the intensive course and all that stuff. So I felt like now was really definitely the time. And even the day before, I was almost even apprehensive. I was thinking, oh, yeah, I feel like all the other tests that I've taken, I feel like I was ready, and then I wasn't. So even then, I was still kind of I wouldn't say doubtful, but I was definitely like weary. So I wasn't ready to rejoice too soon. And I hadn't even taken my test yet. So the day that we go to take the test, guess who's my examiner? The same instructor or the same examiner who was from my very first test that I didn't even get to take. I said, Lord, your sense of humor is great. And in there, I'm just, going over the show me, tell me questions. And I've had a lot of time to go over the show me, tell me questions. And then we got in the car, everything was fine. The drive, I would say it was a little bit hectic because it was raining. And it wasn't like the little rain, like it was serious rain. Like, that rain that like it starts pattering and then it just starts flooding down, and the windows were getting foggy and I was confused. I was like, how do I demist these windows? And I was scared, but he told me how to do it, and he was really calm and relaxed, like not like the first time when I went to take my test where he seemed quite standoffish, like he'd had 10 terrible tests that day. But this day, I think because it wasn't early in the morning, but it was quite early in the day, so it was quite a nice time. So maybe he hadn't had so many people that he was teaching, that he would take in tests with. So we pull up, so he tells me to go all the way to the end, and we pull up, and I'm just like shaking. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like what's he gonna say? Because that wasn't the best drive I've done, but it's definitely not the worst. Like the worst drive I've done, I was driving at like 40 on every road. And so we pull up and he, gives me all the jargon about, yeah, these are the points that you need to work on. And overall, you've got this score and da 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 da. And he was like, yep, so I'm pleased to say that you've passed. And instantly I started crying. Like, I felt like I was just so happy because it was a long road. Like, from the age of 17 to finishing uni, obviously you can tell that that's at least 3 years. So really, I was just rejoicing in my spirit, and I said, Lord, thank you. Thank you that you saw it fit for me to pass at this time and not any of the other times. Because who knows, if I'd have passed all the other times, I could have been in like 10 more accidents than I've been in and stuff like that. So really, I was absolutely elated. Yeah. So then at the same time, I had obviously started a new job as well. So that means that I was now in a financial position to get a car. So the Lord had worked it out that I was able to get a car 2 weeks later, and surprise my parents. So really and truly, this is just a testimony about patience. Though you might pray for something and you think that it might come, it's always important to remember that if the Lord hasn't spoken, or if he hasn't said that it is so, don't always take it that he's saying, yeah, you can have it now. Because there's some things that you'll pray for and they will come instantly, and there's other things that you'll pray for and they might take a little bit longer than you're expecting. So really, I just want to encourage you to be patient, to wait on the Lord's timing, because when his timing is like when he comes on cue, the blessing is more abundant and it flows even greater than if you make it come for your own self. So once again, this was my testimony on patience, and really I'm rejoicing in the Lord because I have a pretty good car. I can't lie. And, it's because I was able to wait and be patient on the Lord's timing. So yeah, he set everything up for me. I'd like to encourage you all to make sure that you do send in your testimonies, because it's so important to do the work of the Lord. And on a platform like this where you're reaching, well, anyone, It's really important to make sure that people are able to be encouraged by your testimony too, because I'm sure there's more than just me who has, thought that the Lord's forgotten them in something as small as a driving test or even as big as waiting for your husband. So really, I encourage you to share, and to watch this space.